Ooh. And we are back, guys. Welcome and welcome. My name is Yuusha Anime, and welcome back to A Light in the Dark. Now, last time we actually found out that the main person who's got us captured is definitely looking after this girl for some reason. And the reason isn't really clear, but I'm thinking her animosity is related to this girl that she's trying to protect. And because of that, she's taken a road now which she's not afraid to take her own life to help her. And it's quite apparent she means it as well. So we're going to go straight back into this and find out exactly what and how has happened and how we escape. So, with that in consideration, guys, Ikamashoka, let's go. Whew. Day 3 morning. Here we go. So cold. I opened my eyes in a daze. From outside the window, the sunlight splattered across the floor, but even that wasn't enough to remove the gloominess in the room. I tried to stretch my body. The sunlight failed to dissipate the cold, and the freezing air made me shudder. Well, I mentioned about the blanket, so they might actually give me one. Day 3. I was getting used to the room's mouldy smell, but the night was still too cold to sleep properly. My stomach burned from starvation. Not only did I feel worse physically, but mentally as well. Dots. Oh god, ugh. After letting me prove my identity through the call, she took the phone outside to prevent me from listening to their conversation. About 10 minutes later, she returned and lit a cigarette. The smoke permeated the air. There was no way for me to know what they had discussed. All my questions got no response. Father's voice through the phone sounded plain as always. He was more skeptical than nervous. Even after a few questions, he still didn't believe I was kidnapped. I tried to tell him my status, but the phone got taken away before he could make any sense out of it. Maybe he couldn't even recognize his own son. Ooh. I laughed ironically, despite my chest being burdened by unease. So what now? Facing the grey ceiling, I tried to figure something out. Tried to communicate. We're not going to try to escape, because we already got a good relationship with them at the moment. I don't want to get rid of it straight away. I mustn't give up. Rather than taking the risk to escape, I should try to convince them. Yes, because we are on the road to that. We've managed to at least convince the lady slightly. After hanging out with them during the past few days, I had learned that they weren't that difficult to communicate with. Yeah. I just hoped it wasn't just an illusion. Dots. We got nothing to get out of the ropes with anyway, so if we tried, we'd be in even more trouble. I looked around the room and found a little girl sitting next to the wall, surrounded by books from God knows where. The big sis was gone. Based on the door sounds I heard, she probably left around early morning. Okay, so I'm stuck with the little girl. Okay. Oh god. Well, there's a Yuusha quote. I'm stuck with a little girl. Jesus. Quote me on that. Go on. Just, please don't take it that badly out of context, because... What time is it? Oh. I asked her. She's poked her head out from behind the book. The question should be fine for her to answer, right? 7. So early. Never expected time to pass this slowly, especially when I used to be able to sleep until noon and to skip breakfast. Why would you skip breakfast? I don't get why people would skip breakfast. This irritates me so much. I was so bored that I even felt bewildered by the situation. They say time connects with emotion. Time under happiness flies, while time under pain lasts forever. Yeah. Because you're more likely to remember painful memories than happy memories, because the illusion is when you're having fun, time feels to go faster, whereas if you're doing something you don't want to do, you remember it more and more and more because it lasts longer in your mind, even though it's the same amount of time. It's an illusion of your mind, well, taken in the aspect of time, which makes the harder times feel like they're longer than they actually are. It is actually a true fact. I hope I explained that properly anyway. There was a sci-fi novel that I read before. I couldn't recall most of the details, but one specific part left quite an impression. It was a nation with a special punishment. They paralyzed criminals' bodies, but kept their consciousness intact. Then the criminals were left in the cell. All they could do was think. Ooh. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get something out of my keyboard. Oh! I just done a freaking Steam screenshot. Whoops. Okay, that was an accident. But I was trying to get something out between the F12 and the print screen key. Jesus. Think through eternity without connection with the outside world. With life support, they can still breathe, but only breathe. I finally understood what that intriguing concept would feel like after experiencing it myself. You were not far from it, but I understand where you're coming from. When you couldn't move your limbs, pain and hunger stood out like a sore thumb. All my attempts to break free failed, and the knot was still tight as ever. Who knew rope could be this durable? Loads of people, especially explorers, and also people who know about the Gordian knot, which is the most difficult knot to untie, or even at best, the most impossible knot to untie. There was a counterfeit butter and pudding in the market, yet the rope was still sturdy. The government really should award this sort of top-notch manufacturing. Oh no, I'm not well. My train of thought only led to another headache, along with my sore throat. That it could it be that I caught a cold? Should I reserve my energy or try to talk with her? Ooh. Converse. I'm going to take the chance. Because if I can converse with her, instead of just letting it go, then maybe she might help me. And also, we need to find out some more information. If I just rest, I could be in trouble. I hesitated to talk to her. Aren't you afraid?
Of what?
Of the cops coming for you. Facing my questions, she stared at me in silence. It took her a while to respond.
Would they?
She asked me quietly. What do you think? Kidnapping someone plus asking for ransom. If that wouldn't get the police's attention, then so be it.
We don't want to deceive her. We have tried our best. They have done worse things to Big Sis.
So it's the big sis who's had it happen to her, not her? Okay. Like what? She doesn't want to say. She turned her head away and didn't answer. The conversation seemed to depress her. It took quite a while before I heard her behind the books.
I am scared. But if Big Sis needs my help, I'll help.
If you want to help her, you should let me go. I lost my chance to say this upon seeing her expression, pressing her lips to suppress her fear. Whatever. I shouldn't have pushed too hard on the subject. I convinced myself with an excuse, not fully certain why I decided to stop there. After that, she didn't speak and only indulged herself in the book silently. Right. Anything to eat? I tried to chat with her on different subjects, hoping to figure out some intel. She rustled around and took out half a steamed bun, then placed it next to me quietly. Oh. Crackers first? Now steamed buns? Steamed buns are quite nice, actually. Like steamed hams. They were all cheap foods with a long shelf life, yet lacked in appetizing value. The outside was dry like an air-dried tangerine skin. It was quite hard to chew, and I could barely taste anything in my mouth. I swallowed it down with water and started to miss the American brunch from a few days ago. The craving made me sigh in despair.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, it'd be much better if there was a fried egg with pepper. Wait, don't be scared. It's okay. She stared at me, surprised, and only opened her mouth a little while later.
You know how to cook?
Sort of, just simple stuff. I always had some simple ingredients ready since I lived alone. If I was lazy, I'd just cook some instant noodles plus a fried egg and call it a meal. That's not a meal, dude. But most of the time I just put everything from the fridge into the crock pot. I didn't really care as long as they were cooked and filling. It's close to me then. What? Is that strange? Seeing her hesitation now, I asked.
I thought you'd have someone cooking for you and bringing meals to your room every day.
So she's got this stereotype in her head as well. Okay.
Like a butler?
You watched way too many soap operas. I didn't stay in a hotel with that kind of service or anything. My breakfast is usually just a sandwich, bread or onigiri from a breakfast shop like regular folks.
Oh.
Realising how mundane my breakfast was, she responded disappointedly. Did she think of me as some playboy millionaire from a movie who spent all day in long bars to hook up with chicks? Probably looked at us as a Chad, who knows.
How about tea parties?
Right before I could explain myself, she threw me another ridiculous question. Tea parties? I repeated the words and confirmed that I didn't hear her wrong upon seeing her nodding. Okay, so if my ears still functioned, and I didn't misunderstand her, she was referring to a traditional British afternoon tea, which I do like. I wish I could have it a bit more, but I can't. Like those things with 3 layers from bottom to top, you had sandwiches, scones and cakes. Tasted not that fancy, Jesus Christ, no. You tasted them in that order too. Although that is nice. It's really nice. Taste aside, that just sounded like a giant pain in the arse. Never tried it. Didn't even hear of it that often.
In a magazine, they say rich people invite their friends over with lots of food and tea.
Right, I know what tea party means.
So no tea party for you?
Nope. Ignoring her curious look, I replied without hesitation.
Why?
Making tea and buying cake is a ton of work, and you have to clean up the mess after inviting people over. Too much trouble. Didn't even talk to my family much, so the whole idea of us having a happy afternoon tea time was just unimaginable. No one prepares it?
No one prepares it for you?
No one hired someone just to make tea. For this sort of luxury stuff, wouldn't it be more convenient to have it in some cafe? She quietly lowered her head as though pondering my words. Do you, by chance, think my house is some fancy mansion with many servants, and all I need to do is ring a bell? She did. Jots. Oh dear. I was just kidding, but based on the reaction, I was right. I live by myself in a 300 square foot condo. I do my own laundry and cleaning, plus chasing the garbage truck to throw away the trash from time to time.
But aren't you rich?
My dad is, not me. It might make no difference for them, but I corrected her nonetheless. Also, being rich and being wasteful are two different things. One should do things by oneself if possible.
Why?
Why what? The quiet girl started to talk and asked me question after question with much curiosity. So that was a good thing to start up a conversation then. Unlike her big sis, there was no hatred or mockery in her eyes, just pure curiosity.
If I had money, I would live in a big house and hire many people to cook and clean.
Is that so? Me, I just needed a place big enough to live. Didn't even have that many friends, so what was the point in all these fancy desires? Yeah, I would settle for a condo at some point. I mean, I would. I mean, condos aren't that bad. It's just the neighbours you have to worry about. Besides, the bigger the house, the harder to clean. Hiring someone to do it would be an extra expense. There was no point in troubling myself like that. Exactly. If they did everything for you, then what would you do? Yeah. She stumbled slightly upon my question. Clearly it never crossed her mind before.
Just rest.
Rest forever? If you have everything done for you, you will become nothing but a useless waste of space. Yeah. Dudes. She tried to explain, but lowered her head like a wrecking ball.
I don't know.
That was interesting. So, she only knows about the rich people from a magazine. But what? Where is she learning these stereotypes? Is it from the big sis, or is it from the magazines? It's what she said about the magazines, so that's got to be one. So maybe the big sis enforced that a bit, or convinced her to believe that way. Dots. Suddenly I understood the source of all these deep-rooted enmities. False imagination. For them, I enjoyed a comfortable life with no effort, while they got trapped in poverty despite their best efforts. Envy and depression accumulated and eventually turned into anger and hatred. False imagination came from all the rumours and media portrayal, picturing the rich as people crashing into others while drunk or high after having crazy parties. That does happen. I mean, I live in a poor family. I'm not going to lie. But I don't have animosity towards rich people who actually earn their way there. I have no problems with them whatsoever. If they do drugs and they do alcohol, that's up to them. But whether they got their status from their own hard work or not is another matter. But if they did get it through their own hard work, I'll tip my fedora to them. Honestly, they earned it. That's all I can say. I can't say much for sport brat Paris Hilton though. Jesus, she doesn't work. Let's be honest, she doesn't work anymore. Anyway, at the end of the day, the media just wanted to provocate news. The media just wanted provocative news. Fancy car killing someone was always more marketable than a cheap-ass swan causing it. Integrity has nothing to do with wealth. There is no lack of rich people leading a rather simple life. You just never see them in the news. They do whatever they can to produce things people want to see. Public media code of integrity? That doesn't mean jack shit in the audience-driven era. What about the truth? Neither the journalists nor the audience care. We see what we want to see. Exactly that. Despite knowing this full well, we still choose not to resist it. Interesting. So how are we going to talk with Big Sis when she comes back? So what now? Okay, we have 3 remaining actions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rest 1. Because we're not well. So I'm going to rest 1 bit. I feel fine. After rest I should ask more information. Yeah. Because I have a feeling if we don't rest and we're past a certain point, we're going to be in even worse shape. I'm not going to observe this. Actually, I'm going to have a look around, see if there's anything. But if not, I'm just going to totally ignore it. One thing I know I need to check is the window. I mean, I've checked a few of these things. Like, there's tons of cigarettes. Table thing there. There's nothing really new. Except the window. We need to still look outside the window. You can see the sky from the window. I should be able to collect more information if I can get closer. It is not locked. However, since this place doesn't appear to be on the 1st or 2nd floor, jumping out the window is a no-go. This makes the door the only exit out of here. Okay, I needed to do that. So, let's go for that one. And we're going to talk for this one, because I needed to know that. So, based on the height of the window, jumping out of it would be unlikely. That's a good note to make. And I'm going to chat. Young girl. Ooh. How long have you known Big Sis? Why me? Who are you? What do you picture me as? I really want to go for this one. I really do. Because this is one thing I want to find out from her. Because she's already mentioned some parts of it. So it's a question of, like, does she see me as, like, some higher plane being or something like that? Why me? We don't really need to answer that. Where did your Big Sis go? She probably won't tell us. How long have you known Big Sis? Let's find out her name. I'm going to find out what her name is. Who are you? Who are you? It's okay. She suddenly looked at me, showing no desire to talk. Are you a student?
I don't go to school.
She shook her head, still not really interested in talking to me. I looked at her. She must have been underage with such thin arms and a slender body.
Do your parents know about this?
Do your parents know about this? Sorry, gross butt. Did they allow you to do such a thing? She pressed her lips and shook her head. Feeling the mood was too heavy, I decided to talk to her a little later. Okay. In the end, I made no progress. She didn't know what was going on, nor was she willing to contact her Big Sis for me. Oh, I'm really not feeling well. Okay. And I felt horrible. My fluctuating body temperature confirmed my fury. That and the muscle soreness indicated a fever. Shit. Getting sick now of all times. I couldn't even stay awake, let alone escape. Okay, I was still reading the book next to the wall, having no clue about all the ideas floating in my mind. She was by herself with a knife, only a few steps away. My hands were still tied up, but I could still move them a little. I could call her over, knock her out, and cut the rope loose. A sense of unease surfaced, along with all sorts of possibilities in my mind. What if she dodged it? What, the door was blocked? Could there be someone else? I didn't see much of a chance to succeed, nor did I have any idea where to start. I also might end up hurting her accidentally. She didn't seem to know what she was doing, nor had she actually threatened me. She only did because she was scared and told to. That was the only thing. She doesn't have anything against us personally, at all. Neither does the big sis, in a way. She just has this begrudging view that makes me her, well, the worst person imaginable, which I can understand. I can understand it's odd. I should avoid violence against her unless I had no choice. I made up my mind and started to think of other options.
Big sis?
Huh? What? Hearing the girl's voice, I came back to my senses and realized she was staring at me. All sorts of ridiculous ideas intertwined in my brain. I shouldn't make any rushed decisions with this messy mind.
Do you hate Big Sis?
Oh. Who would like their kidnapper? It's not like I had Stockholm Syndrome. Barker. I wanted to reply like that, but I kept it down. It didn't matter what I thought. I had to come up with a response that would make her drop her guard based on what she wanted to hear. Saying that I like her might be too much, so I should reply with... I don't know. I don't know. She just looked at me after my response. Silence spread across the air like a wall between us. I don't really know her, so I can't say if I like or hate her.
I see. Big Sis is not a bad person, really.
She hugged Denise as though trying to convince herself. The quiet voice seemed to lack some confidence.
We just wanted to pay off the debt.
Oh, it is debt then, okay.
We don't really want to do this.
The girl's eyes under her bangs were as clear as a lake's surface, void of any deceit. She never suspected her sister of any motive or simply using her. After all this, she still chose to believe in her big sis and tried to defend her. Why? Seeing her desperation, I only felt emptiness.
She worked so hard to make money, but I kept coming to her for more, even though it has nothing to do with her.
She was still murmuring her explanation, yet it annoyed me like tinnitus. Next to my brain. Tinnitus. Tinnitus, whatever that is. Even though she generally wanted to persuade me, even though her big sis might have reasons, I felt nothing. She might not realise, but I just didn't care. I wanted to escape and return back to my normal life. I didn't care if this big sis was a good or bad person, or had a miserable past. Why she committed this crime had nothing to do with me. Seeing her serious expression, I opened my mouth, but swallowed my words eventually. I sighed lightly. I couldn't tell if I envied her naiveness or hated my cold heart. Interesting. So she gave us some insight into Big Sis. I'm gonna try talking with her again. Young black girl. You really believe in her? Ooh. What do you picture me as? Yeah, what do you picture me as? Having no idea how much they misunderstood, I couldn't help but ask. Her answer was surprisingly simple.
A rich person?
Remembering all the past conversations, I sighed hopelessly. I think you must have quite a misunderstanding about rich people. Rich people aren't all bad people. Yeah, it's true. Duds. She looked at me silently, not really believing me. Try to judge for yourself. I don't know what news you've seen or what your big sis has told you that makes you think all rich people are bad. But what have I actually done? Do you think everything she said is true? Try to judge for yourself with your own eyes. I tried to convince her subtly. She could understand, then perhaps I can get out of here without much risk, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, we're getting somewhere though, we're getting somewhere. She refused my glance and didn't want to hear more from me. I sighed lightly. If I couldn't change her mind right now, then I had to wait for another chance. Right. Okay, I'm going to chat to her again. I'm just going to do all talking actions for this, because I need to find out as much about her as possible, so that I can actually help them, and help me at the same time. How long have you known Big Sis? Yeah. Oh? She stared at me cautiously, as though not feeling too happy about me saying bad things about her Big Sis. You really like your sister, huh? I sighed heavily. The pressure in my chest didn't lessen one bit.
Yeah.
She nodded without a second thought. She was only this certain when it involved her Big Sis. Whatever. I'm not going to go with the what if you're being manipulated, because I don't think that will get anywhere. That will just end up with me ending up in a worse spot. So I'm not going to do that. Whatever. I wasn't sure if she was just innocent or easy to fool. Even though she was being manipulated, she still got mad for her. Someone really needed to knock some sense into this little girl. But it was pointless to tell her that now. Yes. One was the Big Sis that took care of her, and the other was a random stranger that she knew for less than a day. It was clear who she would pick. Yes. That was what I needed. Thank you. So, the girl. She didn't seem to have the same level of animosity as the other girl. Maybe I could convince her. We've already done that one. So, situation, I was kidnapped from my home, but perhaps she wasn't the only one who was involved. What was the thing that got updated? Wow, this is going to be tricky. So, one more. You really believe in her. I'm going to go for that one. You really believe in her.
Yes, Big Sis is not a bad person.
She nodded without hesitation, not realizing she was the one locking me up here. If that didn't count as a bad person, then the standard was just way too loose.
She wouldn't really harm you. She will let you go when she gets the money.
Oh, really? Not the first time I heard it from her, but I still didn't know where that confidence came from.
Yes, she promised me.
Cool. No, this one. Do you just believe in anything she says? Do you just believe in anything she says? I asked in disbelief, even though she was still young. Such blind trust was far too ridiculous. Not harming me? Where do you think I got all these injuries? By accidentally hurting myself? She stared at me with pressed lips, but couldn't deny my words. Alright, I had to do that one as a bit of a tough one. I had to. That was a split decision one, but I had to choose it. Because I felt like I wouldn't get anywhere unless I'd done it. Because I've got to slowly, gently convince her. Because if I go too far, I'm dead. Simple enough. My cloudy consciousness gradually cleared. It looked like I fell asleep without noticing. The sky outside the window was dyed crimson. The freezing wind brushing against my cheek made me tremble. I didn't know how long I had slept, but my body showed no signs of recovering. The rope cut into my flesh like ant bites. My struggling out of annoyance only led to torn skin. Yep, I've actually had that happen. What time is it?
5.
The girl's at the same spot, quiet like a delicate porcelain doll.
Why do you keep asking me the time?
Because that's all you will tell me, right? Knowing the time wouldn't change anything, but the sense of cluelessness was just unbearable. Shit, my head hurt. She was not a good conversation partner, but I tried anyway to keep myself awake. If you buy me a coffee, I can give you all the money I have. Just get a coffee. My heavy head made me say the most random of things like a drunk man.
You like coffee?
She raised her head and stared at me with curiosity. Her Big Sis would have shut me up, but she at least chatted with me here and there. Nothing is more pleasant than drinking coffee in this weather. Well, except a hot bath.
I don't. Too bitter.
Learn how to enjoy it. Different coffee beans have different tastes. It's like tea leaves. How you prepare it is also a factor. Filter drip isn't real coffee at all. Only pour-over coffee can bring out the fragrance. There is something wrong with those latte lovers. The only proper coffee is a black coffee. They may as well just drink milk. Hearing all my critiques, she made a comment.
You really like to talk.
Do you have a better alternative? Facing my question, she started to contemplate seriously.
Just sleep?
She just spoke timidly, as though fearing that I would scold her. Great idea. Please let me know how to just sleep with my hands tied and my body hungry and cold. I started coughing before I could respond. I didn't have the strength to joke around. This kept up. I would cough myself to death before they killed me. Living like this was worse than death. I recalled this line from a book I found and found it super fitting. The girl stared at me for a while, then came over carefully. Wait, no, what are you doing? He came over carefully with a knife. Don't worry, I couldn't resist even if you were empty-handed. Ignoring my mockery, she partly squatted before me. I then felt a slightly cold touch.
You have a fever.
Just let me rest. Not wanting to waste more energy, I sighed tiredly and closed my eyes. I heard the sound of her stepping back and felt her glance at me with worry. That was the best thing to do! Yes! Okay. I had to do that. That was probably the best thing I could have done there. I got myself a bit of extra rest while I was at it. And not only that, she's now probably going to help me as well. Okay. That was the sound of the bike's motor outside the window. The girl raised her head sharply and ran out to welcome her big sis. I had no idea where she'd been. The girl's hair was still messy, and she held plastic bags from a convenience store in her hands.
I'm back. Is everything alright?
Big sis. The little girl worriedly explained the status of my body. Big sis frowned upon hearing it.
Okay, I'll take care of it. You should eat something now.
She's actually going to help me. Yes! Yes! Okay. Calm down. Whew, that's a good thing. After calmly patting her little sister's head and asking her to take the plastic bags, the girl coldly looked down on me.
So what's wrong with you now?
Who knows? Food poisoning, maybe? Not wanting to show my weakness before I gathered my strength to reply.
If you can still joke around, it probably isn't too bad.
Oh, damn. Thought I saw a dead pixel on my screen. The smell of cigarettes from her made me dizzy. She covered my forehead with the back of her hand. Then she checked my body temperature in a much rougher way than the little girl.
What a fragile body you have here, rich boy. Can't take some wind?
Remain silent. Not wanting to waste more energy, I just quietly watched her examining the rope. She forcefully pulled it, making the rope bite directly into my flesh. Oh, you should care more about me spreading disease than escaping. Yeah.
I'm not a greenhouse flower like you. This sort of cold is nothing. I still have to work, even with a fever. If I take a day off, I might just lose my job the next day. You have no idea, right, rich boy?
I had no idea. Nor did I give a fuck. I didn't pick the job for you. So what's the point in complaining about that to me? Yeah, that was rather outlandish. That was hard to keep your emotions under control when you felt horrible. I decided to change the subject to avoid an argument. Did my dad pay?
Why would I keep you here if he did? Do you think I like tying you up?
They did make contact yesterday, so they should have been discussing the details of the ransom. So he's not willing to pay then. Ignoring her provocation, I forced myself to focus on the intel at hand. Common ways were money transfer or cash in the bag. However, money transfers could be traced and physical cash was difficult to arrange. Yes. I heard some kidnappings used Bitcoin or virtual currency instead. Yes, because it says that they're more secure and flexible than cash, and also cryptocurrency is very difficult to freaking track. But now that's dying out anyways, to a degree. Even a high schooler with a bank could kidnap someone. The question was how to get out of the situation. Yes.
Save your breath and just rest. I have no desire to call a doctor if you pass out.
Thanks for the heads up. She had a point. I shouldn't find more things to torture myself with outside of just my body. I tried to lean back and let the walls take some of the weight. This was more comfortable pose than what I had in the past few days. but it only made me feel just a tiny little bit better after having a good rest.
Sis, can I have all these?
The girl took out all kinds of food from the bag. Bread, cookies, and steaming hot udon. Okay, the smell only made my headache worse.
I already had dinner, so you just dig in.
She replied softly, treating her in a totally different manner.
Hey, it is one thing
Not to share your food, but all of the food you could pick. The little girl stopped moving her chopsticks and looked at her sister with a pleading expression, as though asking her what's to do.
Isn't it only fair? We were eating instant ramen when you were having a feast. There's no way these sorts of cheap foods are to your taste.
What the hell? Hearing a nonsensical accusation, I was too exhausted to retort.
What? Say something?
Really? I've had enough. Fierce headache took away the last of my patience. Her provoking expression finally made me lose my... No! Oh no! Oh no, it made me lose control of my emotions. Right. I am the rich boy who lives in a giant mansion, rinses my mouth with expensive wine and has dozens of maids and butlers. A snap of my fingers and someone will bring me whatever I want. I smash the plate to the ground after 2 bites, then whine about what kind of crap this is. Someone drives me to school every day. I have LV bags and Rolex watches. All my accessories from top to bottom cost millions of Taiwan dollars. And your poor ass can never ever even afford one of them. How is that? Is that what you have in mind? There's no thought behind those words, just my accumulated rage and frustration coming out like a flood. Jesus. That's the worst thing you could have said. I was tired of this conversation. There was no middle ground. Forced their imaginative perception upon me and totally ignored what they had seen. You don't know shit about me, nor do you give a fuck. From the very beginning, you have decided to hate me just because I live a better life than you. Rich people should die. All of them are trash that can't help themselves from running over people with their fancy cars, right? So cut the bullshit if you don't know anything. The blood all rushed to my head. I was close to passing out from the headache, but yelled at the top of my lungs anyway. The room echoed with my sound. The little girl curled up next to the wall with a scared expression as though I wasn't tied up.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Here we go! Oh no, I messed up! Her eyes flashed with rage and fire and she yelled back at me with equal force. Unlike the weakness the little girl showed, the big sis stood up forcefully.
Have you ever felt hungry, even worried where to sleep at night? Ever had someone burst open your door to collect debt? I don't know shit about you. Then what the fuck do you know about me, huh? Do you know what we are dealing with when you were going to school or when you were sleeping? That's why I hate your lot. By what right can you live like that? By what right can you speak like that? What? You don't care about us, because it's none of your business.
Yes, it isn't. I didn't care what would happen to me. I just wanted to vent all of my frustration from my chest. So should I feel guilty for Siberian refugees? Feel responsible for ISIS? Give me a break. Why should I feel responsible for your life? Why should I kneel before you and apologize? I have nothing to do with your poverty.
And it is my fault?
Jesus! I never said it was hers. No. Her raised fist smashed against the wall. The girl's roar was mixed with sobbing. Her voice echoed through the room. Everything seemed to stop at that moment. Her face was twisted with rage. Her lips turned blood red from bite. Jesus, she bit them that hard. I could also see her hand trembling.
You think I enjoy this? You think I don't want to live better? I fucking wish I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Why can some people have a comfortable life without doing anything? Why does my life have to be a living hell? Tell me!
Facing the girl's emotional accusations, I couldn't respond immediately. It was neither of our faults. It wasn't even about any individual, but something that was decided before our birth. Yeah. No reason, no explanation. The world is just not fair. Remember what she said before? I repeated it. Hearing that, the girl burst into laughter. It sounded relaxed yet mocking. A mysterious, crazy laughter.
Yes, the world isn't fair. So none of us should complain about what happens in this goddamn world, right?
Well, that went nowhere. Oh dear. Dots. Not able to find any words. I averted my gaze. Exhaustion took over me once I calmed down. I barely talk when I leaned against the wall weakly. Chill. Someone might call the cops if you yell this loud. She looked at me over her shoulder, then clicked her tongue unhappily.
Shut up. I don't want to beat up a dying person. How nice of you.
That would be what I would say as well. I said half jokingly, feeling much more relaxed after releasing all my pent-up thoughts. I've still got the headache. I couldn't focus my eyes anymore. Enjoying my fluctuating body temperature, I powerlessly closed my eyes. There was only everlasting loneliness in the darkness. Dots. More dots. Tired. Cold. How much longer before this was over? Who would I be if I just gave up? Could I just let it all go and sleep forever? Dots. Nope. You are not, dude. Come on. Come on.
It is hot.
Amidst the cloudiness, an icy cold hand over my forehead.
Wait, she's actually looking after me.
She is actually looking after me. I had no strength to open my eyes and could only identify the speakers from their voices.
What a pussy, acting like a dying man just because of a cold.
Easy for you to say. I deserve some credit for remaining sane after being kidnapped and treated like this. Yeah!
Big sis, will he die?
Hearing the mumbling from the little girl, I realised how my senses became sharper after I closed my eyes. Even the air temperature felt extra vivid. There was another hand on my forehead, along with the scent of a cigarette.
It takes more than that to kill someone.
Despite her words, there was no doubt in her voice. Dots. It took her a while before I heard her voice again.
Look after him for me. I'll be right back.
She's actually gone to get medicine! Okay! I suddenly felt a weight on my body. A soft cotton blanket held... Yay! She got the blanket! Yes! I did good choices! Yes! A soft cotton blanket held my body heat, making it feel much warmer. I sensed the girl next to me with her gaze, maybe even her breathing. My eyes were closed, but I felt her gaze. No. It was probably just my imagination. I couldn't connect the broken thoughts in my mind. I passed out again. Dots. More dots.
Ah, you're back.
Wait a minute. Who is this?
Mommy needs to head out and take care of something, so have dinner without me. You can eat whatever you like.
Our mother died. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, so now we're learning more about our character. Lies.
If Daddy calls, just tell him I'm in class, okay?
Liar.
Be a good boy, okay?
The laughter of an unknown man, hurried footsteps, and the sound of an engine starting. After removing my shoes, I found myself in an empty living room. This is weird. I lay down on a sofa. My mind was blank while I stared at the hanging chandelier. I realized now that this house was too big. So huge that it made me feel lonely. That's the other flip side about big houses if you're by yourself. Ooh. Back at the scene of the crime, there was no one in the dark alleyway. Wait, what? Scene of the crime? Wait, who? The cold moonlight shined upon the finished construction site. The criminals always returned to the scene of the crime, a foolish notion, but there was no exception. One couldn't bear the self-doubt even when ignoring others' gazes. Was there any evidence left behind? Had the cops started taking action? The girl took a deep breath while lighting up a cigarette. The heavy scent permeated her nose, but wasn't enough to erase the unease. She took out a newly bought cold medicine from her pocket. She wasn't sure why she did that. She didn't care about that boy's survival. She didn't even intend to leave him here alive. Oh, so she actually did plan to kill us. Okay, I was wrong. It was only now that she realized murdering someone was not easy. He was no longer just a thing once you talked to and touched him. He was a living person. So I've convinced her to let me live. Okay. Dots. It was time to head back. She decided not to think further. She also hadn't slept properly for days now, just relying on nicotine and alcohol. but she had to keep going. For the ideal life she and her family, her only family, deserved. So her sister is her only remaining family. And I'm guessing that was her mother then that we saw. No, it couldn't have been her mother because that was us. Could it? Oh, god damn it, now I want to know more. Oh wow, this is such a good part. Wow. So we are actually learning a lot more. A lot more about the lady who's held us hostage now. I keep forgetting her name. Why do I forget her name? I know she said it once, but it doesn't say in the things that we have. So that's good. We've actually reached a very good point where she now will actually let us live, which is a big step forward. And with that, I'm going to end this part off here. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want any more from me. And I shall see you in the next video. Soldier, guys. Oh, and indeed. See you next time. Cue the outro.